This morning, we are going inside the minds of men to talk about sex and relationships. Dr. Abraham Morgentaler is out this morning with new insight in his latest book. It's called The Truth About Men and Sex, Intimate Secrets from the Doctor's Office. He's an associate clinical professor of urology at Harvard Medical School and the founder of Men's Health Boston. Doctor, welcome back.
Hi, great to be with you.
Studio 57. I was very excited to have you back because I think this is such an important topic. And you wrote this book because of what men would say to you when they come and talk to you behind closed doors.
Right. So, we have this idea that men are really relatively simple, if I could say that. But what you find out is that men actually are very interesting, complicated, nuanced.
And scared.
And scared. Yeah. And here's the big shocker. I wrote this book really because what I was hearing behind closed doors was so different than what I myself had imagined and really what's out there. And I think the number one surprise is that men care. They care deeply and passionately about their partners and about how they're doing in relationships.
But I thought you said for most men, their definition of great sex is if their partner says, that was great sex.
It's true.
Is that true?
No.
No, but listen. But here's why I think it's true and why it's important. We have this idea that men are in this all for themselves.
Yeah.
In fact, men have terrific insecurities and concerns because what they really care about is being able to be a provider, a sexual provider. And this is really what's behind why men feel badly if they climax too quickly. It's why if men have trouble with ED, if we can use that term. The men feel, and what they say is that they feel like they're not doing it right for their partners. I'll never forget, I thought I knew everything about the world. I was young, I was new at this, and a young guy comes in who's like a tough stud, right? Like not particularly likable. And within a few minutes, this guy's crying in my office because his concern is that he's finishing too quickly to be able to provide pleasure and satisfaction to his girlfriend. I never would have thought that was possible. And that story's repeated endlessly for me. Thousands of men, 25 years of practice, and the end of it is, it's not just about what the guys can do for themselves, it's their sense of masculinity actually comes through by what they can do for their partner.
How important is a man's sense of masculinity?
It's the key to who he is. And, for women who are watching, who are thinking about men as they've conceived of them until today, I think what's really important is that when men have an opportunity to be great sexually or to feel as a man in a relationship, that's when they're best as partners. When a woman says to a man, that was great, oh my God, that's the best thing a guy can hear. And then watch what happens to him. That's when he can be generous, grand, giving, because he feels intact and whole and great.
So what do you tell all these men who come into your office and talking so intimately with you?
Well, the problem is
What should they do to make sure that they feel good and that they feel like they are responsive to the woman in their lives' desire?
Well, the truth is, so men care deeply about this, but they've also got a lot of challenges. So, number one, they've got insecurities like Jerry Seinfeld had on that little leader, like who knows really what's going on down there. But the other is that men have a lot of sexual problems. So 52% of men between the ages of 40 and 70 have some degree of erectile dysfunction. 20% of men, regardless of age, have premature ejaculation. Makes them feel terrible. A third of men over the age of 45 have low levels of testosterone that can reduce the man's desire and his abilities. That's a lot of trouble. And so not only are men faced with trying to do it right, whatever that may mean for them, and often they don't know, but sometimes there are physical issues that are getting in the way too.
So how much has Viagra changed things?
Viagra was a game changer. 1998, Viagra came out, and boom, the world is different. We used to say at our field, we used to encourage men, it's okay to talk about this, and we would use the words, like nobody ever used the word, I don't even know if I can say it here, but the male organ. Now, it never was said on TV before, and all of a sudden, we hear in primetime ads for, if you have a Erection lasting 4 hours or more, seek
That's a
medical
problem.
attention. And little kids are listening to this too,
Yeah.
right? So the whole conversation changed.
But it's the second most recognized brand name. But this is what I was curious about, because anecdotally, we always hear size matters. As a professional, does size matter?
A new study just came out looking at 15,000 men looking at the size, erect, flaccid. So the average size for anybody who's interested erect is 5.2 inches. But what's amazing is that if you look from the 10th percentile to the 90th, most of the range is within just an inch and a half. In other words, men are more similar than they are different. And people say, oh, I don't believe it, because people watch porn. Porn has changed everything, too. We've never been in this position before, where people have access to all this crazy stuff just with the click of a button, where gender roles are so different.
I'm still trying to figure out does size matter, because I'm thinking,
The answer,
yes.
So the answer is the most important
Not the big
sexual
difference
organ
in size.
is here,
Is
is
here.
the
Exactly
brain.
right.
And it's not what you've got, but what you do with it. Men, here's the big problem.
Yeah.
Men have no voice. Women have a place to talk everywhere,
Yeah.
and men don't.
But now with your book, they will be talking. They
Thank
will
you
be
so much.
talking. Do you have any more questions for the doctor? No. Charlie said, I'm all good. Doctor.
I'm interested in that.
No, it
We
is.
have to
It's a
go.
very interesting topic. Dr. Abraham Morgentaler, thank you.